talk professionally about each other's work.
Listen, here's the thing, Peter.
Yeah.
You're stepping over a line.
Stay alive! I'm not going to lose you!
Please, don't do this. Just let her go.
Why don't we talk about each other in a serious way? Listen, here's the deal. Guys, you're crossing a line. Don't worry about it. Tom Cruise is a high-octane, smiling superstar who clings to jets while they're in the air. He is also the face of Mission Impossible and one of Hollywood's most powerful actors. But behind the megawatt smile and carefully planned press conferences is a man who is known for being shockingly private, loyal, and harsh at times. Tom Cruise doesn't talk about his enemies in public very often, but people who have worked with him, they know the other side with the grudges, the quiet blacklisting, and the cold anger he saves for people who have crossed a line. When Cruise is betrayed on set, treated badly off screen, or faced with challenges to his values, he remembers and doesn't let go. Today we're going to talk about the 6 stars that Tom Cruise can't stand, and why people talk about their names behind the scenes of his billion-dollar business company. Just know that if you bother Tom Cruise, his stunt double won't be able to help you. Brad Pitt is way too cool for Tom Cruise. You can see why people are loyal to the book. It hit some nerves. Cruise and Pitt shared the screen in Interview with the Vampire, but not the friendship. Behind the scenes, things were tense between them from the start. Set sources say they often disagreed about creative direction. Pitt is said to have found Cruise so intense that she made him feel like he was suffocating, while Cruise is said to have seen Brad as cold, distant, and uninterested, more concerned with making it through the shoot than with making a real connection. Tom, who likes accuracy, discipline, and being completely absorbed in his parts, didn't like how Pitt seemed cold and uninterested. He was hoping for synergy. He even asked for company, but all he got was silence, distance, and looks of discomfort between takes. Pitt didn't try to hide it in later appearances. He said the production was terrible and that the whole thing was mentally draining and blocked his creativity. That level of harsh honesty might have made Tom feel even worse about how he was already feeling. Cruise is known for keeping quiet about bad things, so he never talked about the stress in public. But in Hollywood, what people do says a lot. Both stars have been famous for decades, but they've never worked together again. Not once. Not even in a huge group of actors. And that silence? With how linked the business world is? It's very loud. But the next person on this list did more than just make Tom mad at work. She questioned something important to him, which made the fight very personal. Brooke Shields, the public response that made it important to her. Brooke Shields wasn't banned by Tom Cruise because of that movie. It was being a mother. In particular, it was her brave and very public choice to talk about how she used antidepressants to help her through her painful fight with postpartum depression. At the time, this move helped remove the shame from a very real and commonly misunderstood fight for many women. But in 2005, during a famous interview on The Today Show, Scientology's strict resistance to psychiatry is very important to Cruise. Shocked people by openly criticizing Shields' choice and calling her use of medication dangerous and irresponsible. Even by the often raw standards of Hollywood, the comments were shocking. Brooke didn't say nothing. In a harsh op-ed in the New York Times, she responded by saying that the crews were spreading dangerous false information, minimizing women's experiences, and showing a deep lack of understanding about mental health problems. People who are becoming more aware of how important it is to support and advocate for mental health felt what she said. People quickly and strongly turned against Cruise. Mental health professionals condemned what he said. Fans were outraged, and other famous people stood with Shields. The War of the Worlds press tour quickly turned into a full-on PR disaster from what it was supposed to be. Insiders say the damage was already done, even though Cruise are said to have apologized to Shields privately after the dust cleared. The couple never really got back together. Years later, they're still never seen at the same business events. Friends they both have say that they keep a polite but clear space from each other. So who is the next actor? He not only didn't agree with Cruise, but he made fun of him. In public and over and over. The interview was meant to be a normal one, just another stop on the War of the Worlds press trip. What happened instead was one of the most awkward and well-known times in Tom Cruise's career. Cruise talked about the movie with Matt Lauer on NBC's Today Show. What started out as a normal conversation quickly turned into a heated, very personal argument about psychiatry, prescription drugs, and mental health, all of which were deeply connected to Cruise's strong Scientology views. When Lauer pushed back and said that drugs were okay, Cruise lost it. He laughed at Lauer and said he was glib, saying he wasn't smart or serious. As the argument got heated, Cruise's voice got sharper, his body language got tense, and the studio became more tense. Millions of people watched live as one of Hollywood's smartest stars lost control of the story in front of the cameras. Lauer tried to stay calm, but Cruise's steady tone clearly shook him. He was caught off guard by how intense it was. Crew members said that it was very cold outside after the show. Afterward, they didn't say a word to each other. There was no handshake or small talk after the interview. There was just a heavy, telling quiet. The clip broke apart. It spread like wildfire before the phrase going viral was even used in everyday speech. It was all over the news, made for many late-night jokes, and started a media frenzy about Cruise's personal views that would last for years. But the problems didn't end there. Years later, when Matt Lauer's career fell apart because of terrible accusations of sexual misconduct, Cruise didn't brag in public. He didn't say anything, but people close to him say that his silence said a lot. He wasn't shocked or upset, and nobody could see him crying. What's the next name? It was someone who made fun of both Tom's views and his height. Seth Rogen, the clown who went too far. That's really cool. Got the weed then? Yes. In the bag. Beautiful. Okay. He likes to joke around a lot. For many years, Tom Cruise was one of his favorite people to go after. Rogen wasn't afraid to talk about everything about Cruise, his intense public persona, his unwavering loyalty to Scientology, and his famously short height. He fired shot after shot, and every time the crowd laughed out loud. Seth often made fun of Tom Cruise's mysterious image, his over-the-top energy, and yes, even the way he sprints in almost all of his action movies, whether it was on late-night talk shows or in casual interviews. But one story went too far. Seth dropped a bombshell in an honest podcast chat. Once, he and Judd Apatow went to see Tom Cruise at home for what they thought would be a fun and creative get-together. Instead, Rogen said it quickly turned into what he thought was a hard sell for Scientology. He said the meeting was awkward, intense, and strangely dramatic. It looks like something from a comedy sketch. He didn't stop there, though. Seth used the whole thing as material for a funny act, which he did on stage, in interviews, and online. The joke went viral, made the news, and got him praise. At the cost of Tom. It goes without saying that Cruise wasn't amused. People who know the actor well say that he was furious, not only about the supposed recruitment story, but also about how Rogen turned the private meeting into something funny. The lie hurt Cruise a lot, because he is very private, and cares a lot about how people see him. The damage was quick and permanent. Seth Rogen has continued to do well as a writer, director, and comedic star, but one thing has stayed the same. He's never been asked to work on a Cruise-led movie, be in a scene, or even have a small part in the background. It's very important to Tom to be reliable, and the bridge is nothing but ashes after it burns down. Who is the next actor? He didn't just make fun of Tom. He made fun of his whole heritage on national TV. Mickey Rourke, the Hollywood star known for his direct shots. You know, this makes me really mad. Tom Cruise was very happy in 2022. People loved Top Gun Maverick so much that it broke box office records, brought back a popular franchise, and was hailed as the movie that brought people back to theaters after the pandemic slump. Hollywood was happy. The critics liked it. A lot of fans showed up. The movie business praised Cruise as a hero. However, not everyone stood up and cheered. Mickey Rourke, who doesn't like to keep quiet, went on Piers Morgan, uncensored, and launched a harsh attack. He didn't just say bad things about Cruise's success. He completely ignored it with cutting disdain. According to Rourke, Cruise has been playing the same role for 35 years. He was talking to Cruise's high-octane, hero-centered roles. He laughed at Maverick and said that Cruise's movies were shallow, predictable, and lacked real artistic meaning. That doesn't impress me, he said in a cold voice. I really need to see some acting. It was more than just tough criticism for Cruise, who had worked hard, loved the project, and put himself at risk for years to bring Top Gun back to life. It was a slap in the face in public. Maverick was more than just a follow-up, a love letter in movies. It was a project that Cruise had fought hard to make on his own terms. Having it torn down when it was at the height of its glory hurt a lot. As usual, Cruise didn't say anything. There was no public response and no defense in interviews. But people in his close-knit group say that the answer behind the scenes was anything but calm. Insiders say that directors who work with Cruise made it very clear. From now on, Mickey Rourke would not be welcome in any projects led by Tom Cruise or connected to Paramount. He was quietly but successfully put on a blacklist. It happened quickly. It was over. And it was about them. The last star on this list did more than just insult Cruise's work. He lied to Tom in a way that changed everything. Nicole Kidman. From getting married to rebelling. I'm going to do what you say. Good job, girl. He loved her very much. At least that's what it looked like from the outside. Nicole Kidman and Tom Cruise were stars of Hollywood. They had everything. The red carpets, the magazine covers, and the hit movies. But when their marriage ended suddenly in 2001, the damage wasn't just personal, it was planned and carried out. Whether it was a coincidence or not, Cruise filed for divorce just a few days before their 10-year anniversary. This saved him from California's spousal asset division rules, which would have required a more fair split of the money. Nicole was caught off guard and left spinning. Her talks after her divorce were honest, open, and very human. She admitted that she really thought they would become old together. It was clear that the sadness was real, but the split wasn't the only thing that killed any chance of getting back together. It was about ideas. Nicole slowly started to distance herself from the Church of Scientology, which is still a big part of Cruise's life. Even worse, in the eyes of the church, she started getting back in touch with people Tom was said to have cut ties with. People who used to be friends and co-worker, but were shunned by Scientology leaders. Nicole's world grew while Cruise's got smaller and more closed off. She took on risky, difficult movie parts, won an Oscar, and changed her image by being strong and independent. Cruise never got back together with her, not even for the sake of their children, even though she was polite and kept quiet about the personal details of their breakup. He wasn't at the wedding of their son Connor, which stood out. Isabella, their adopted daughter, stays strongly in the church and is almost never seen in public with Nicole. Cruise and Kidman haven't been seen together in public for more than 20 years, even though they used to be friends. There are no red carpets, events for both sides, family gatherings, or anything else. Some think it's because of the pain of a broken heart. Others point to the strict rules of Scientology and Cruise's need to be in charge. But one thing is for sure, Tom Cruise doesn't just end a romance, he throws it away completely. There is steel behind the smile. Now you know about the 6 stars who upset Tom Cruise. Some people made jokes, some poked fun, and some badly tried to take on the man in charge of the brand. Relationships are money in Hollywood. People get hurt when Tom Cruise turns cold, and it can even end lives. Which feud caught you off guard the most? Do you think Cruise was right, or are you just carrying a grudge? Share your ideas in the box below. If you want to see more action from behind the velvet curtain, please click the like button, subscribe, and ring the bell. We know this because even the biggest stars in Hollywood cast shadows.